Well, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I would like to welcome you to the Barony Hall for this congregation for the conferment of degrees. This is a day of celebration for you, our graduands, your families and friends, and indeed for the staff of the university. These events are sometimes known as commencement ceremonies, as a signal that they mark a beginning rather than the end. And it's in that spirit that we celebrate graduations at Strathclyde. In a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each graduand. The capping ceremony has ancient roots as a public rite of passage and a mark of achievement. For each of our graduands, it's a sign they are part of a proud tradition of world-changing scholars at Strathclyde, stretching back to the Scottish Enlightenment. Please enjoy the ceremony and feel free to applaud, cheer, or whatever. I declare this congregation open and invite Professor Anya Lowett to introduce our students.
My Lord and Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Law, Alan Brown. Michelle Donnelly. Jinjing Zhao. For the degree of Master of Science in Mediation and Conflict Resolution, Ailey Stewart Lamb Barkley. Maureen Ann McKeever Gunn. Miriam Lara Katzenberger. In Criminal Justice and Penal Change, Vicky Amanda Binney. James Francis Gibbons. Arshia Ramzan. Rebecca Valerie Ryan. For the degree of Master of Laws in Construction Law, Maria Christoforou. Alistair Lauder. Kevin McMillan. Holly Melrose. Evelyn Scott. In Internet Law and Policy, Naveed Dada. In Information Technology and Telecommunications Law, Prakash Nahula. In Human Rights Law, Katie Ann Campbell. Scott James McLeod Dinion. Chloe Louise Harvey. Laura Catherine Pasternak. Samantha Jane Smith. In International Economic Law, Wenhao Wang. In International Law and Sustainable Development, Hannah Brower. Nicole Nerissa Gellino. Vera Heibor. Justine Viviane Ann Müller. Edna Ailey Okine. In Mediation and Conflict Resolution, Margaret Carlin. Teklom Gebrandrias. John Paul Stringer. Carolyn Marie Thompson. In Criminal Justice and Penal Change, Delano Aragao Vaz. Claire Ann Lavery O'Hagan. In Employment and Labour Law Studies, Stephen McCrossan. In Climate Change Law and Policy, Danielle Sarah Law. Marsida Rada. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Gemma Bissett. Sean Fraser. Katie Hendry. Suzanne Houston. Kirsten McPhail. Laura Martin. Elliot Samuel Miller. Cameron Robert Ramage. Rebecca Florence Riley. Joseph Smith. Lawrence Steele. Cassandra Wright. Lindsay Aitken. Zain Tarim bin Tariq Akhtar. Umar Akram. Matthew James Alveston. Dana Barkley. Craig Beaumont. Cameron Bell. Mitchell Kyle Bell. Natalia Bell. Connor Kenneth Bowie. Kira Claire Pia Bradley. Lucy Alexandra Brunton. Matthew Stewart Campbell. Alice Carey. Lewis Shaney. Craig James McIntosh Chisholm. Nadia Clemente. Danielle Marie Connell. Maria Dominique Dines. Jenna Rachel Fee. Poppy Catherine Fitzpatrick. Andrew Flanagan. Alistair William Fraser. David Joseph Gallagher. Najib Javed Gill. Rachel Gillen. Petronella Halamova. Nicola Louise Halliday. Andrew Harding. Kaylee Heath. Laura Ann Human. Megan Hughes. Abby Kate Hunter. Thomas Charles Jordan. Victoria Sarah Keel. Laszlo Julian Kempinski. Ailey Kinney. Monika Kochvara. Gordon Lang. Jennifer Hannah Lilly. Rebecca Lindsay. Neil Fraser Love. Niall Fraser Love. Hope I get the next one right. Sean Christopher McCall. Lauren Ann McGee. Jack David McClarty. Callum Rory John McLean. Jennifer Margaret McNichol. Samantha Alexandra Miller. Lauren Mitchell. Ainsley Jane Morrison. Lucy Elizabeth Muir. Taylor Muir. Richard David Murray. Scott David O'Connor. Nicole Parker. Paul Pirulescu. Claudia Riley. Stavros Ioannis Sigalos. Christopher Brian Traynor. Claire Louise Verrecchia. Emma Danielle Wheelhouse. Lauren Wilson. Jamie Ewell. Ailey Hope Anderson. Corin Elana Boyd. Rebecca Brown. David Hughes. Anagios Fotios Kemelis. Aidan McDade. Apostolos Stamatakis. Kirsty Ann Street. Taylor Stringfellow Mills. Rachel Wallace. Carol Ann Wilson. Greg Allen. Michael Bannister. Alana Benyans. Anoop Christie. Sukumoy Das. Rebecca Elizabeth Ellis. Ian Fitzpatrick. Patrick Thomas Hannon. Asia Hack. Hazel Rebecca Hiram. Francis Hunt. Hazel Imrie. Nada Abdul Mohsin Omer Krimuldin. Megan Aaron Leonard. Elizabeth MacArthur. Claire Frances McBride. Loretta McCarty. Nathan McCarty. Lucy McKenna. Minas Moskos. Amrit Singh Pawar. Mark Robert Penman. Elena Lucia Petrescu. Ramzan Ali Shah. Stuart Smart. Susan Wallace. Freddie Ward. In law with a modern language, Jacob David Hay. Thomas Anthony Jemison. Rowan Catherine Simpson. Peter Daniel Horner. Ewan Campbell Wilson. Eleanor Clark. Claire Margaret Hawthorne. In Scots and English law, Victoria McIntosh. Greg Rob Barr. Sophie Devlin. Robert Gordon Ramsay. Ruqayya Akhtar. Katrina Margaret Dury. Eva Kwok. Devon Amar Lal. Sarah Kilpatrick Leslie Carter. Megan Ray McCullough. In Law Clinical, Fergus Laurie. Chloe Melissa Barr. Alexander James Brock. Benjamin Brown. Hannah Grace. Redmond Harris. Michael Anthony McAdam. Fraser Molyneux. Niamh Tyree. Alice Evelyn Baumann. Julie Ann Cloherty. Carolyn Margaret Ling. Julia Dominique Campbell Poole. Katie Maureen Stevenson. Adam James Thomas. Antonia Louise Welsh. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Law and Psychology, Amanda Louise Murray. For the degree of Bachelor of Laws, Cara Ann Burns.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, but most of all our graduates, as we're now allowed to call you, it's a real pleasure to welcome you all here to the Barony Hall, one of the jewels in Strathclyde's crown. Now, rightly, our graduates have been centre stage, and I would like to begin my address today by congratulating you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and it's now been recognised in front of your families, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time here. And we know just how much work you had to put in to get here today. The late Muhammad Ali once said, "The fight is won or lost far away from witnesses, in the gym, out there on the road, long before I dance under these lights." And there's a symmetry between success in sport and academic success. In both, only a few people see the hard work required to triumph. Our gym is the library and the lab, the lecture theatre and the tutorial. And today, under the lights of this magnificent venue, we celebrate your efforts and achievements. Well done. In just a few minutes' time, you will be asked to join the academic procession as it makes its way down the aisle. This invitation symbolises the fact that you're no longer students, but full members of the academic community of Strathclyde. It's a very important moment for all of you. The class of 2017 is graduating at a time of considerable global change in Scotland, in the UK, in Europe, and globally. There is no question that challenges lie ahead for us all. But as a member of the Strathclyde family, you belong to a large and ever-growing worldwide community which has a shared ethos of tolerance and understanding and a desire to make a positive difference. Whatever you choose to do in life, remember that you possess the most valuable assets anyone can have in today's world: knowledge, the ability to innovate, and the capacity to use your talents for the good of society. As graduates of a socially progressive university, you have a competitive advantage, having been equipped with skills, know-how, and life experiences to influence positively and shape the world around you. Now, in Scotland, we are fortunate in having a higher education system which is the envy of the world. Our country rightly invests in education for all. Education broadens the mind, creates opportunities for individuals and for societies. And as Strathclyders, we carry a sense of duty to use what we've learned wisely and for the good of others. The desire to make a positive impact in the world comes naturally to graduates of this university. We only have to look at the achievements of those who've gone before us for inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To George Birkbeck, who introduced free classes on mechanics for Glasgow's tradesmen. To the world's first oilman, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. And to John Logie Baird and Lord Reith, whose work in television brought us visual marvels that I'm quite sure they could hardly have dreamed of. In the present day, we look to Dame Elish Angiolini, a pioneer in Scottish justice, as the country's first female Solicitor General and later his first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history and a philanthropist who's used his wealth to the great benefit of others, as we recently saw in the charity dinner organised by his foundation and attended by former US President Barack Obama. Now, I'm sure you will have been given lots of advice on how to make the best of your lives. Some you will rightly ignore. Some will stick with you, but mostly you're going to have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." To reach this point in your lives today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some of you, the path will have been relatively easy, for others, much more difficult. But I'm certain of one thing: none of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They've picked you up when you've been down, they've encouraged you when you needed it, and they're here today to support you once again, proudly watching as you cross the stage with broad smiles and the odd tear in the eye and some pretty raucous cheering, particularly from the back there. They're celebrating today, not just because you're almost off the payroll, although that's quite a thing to celebrate, but because you carry with you their hopes and their dreams, their confidence, that you can make this a better world. For the past half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears. I'd like now to invite our graduates to show their appreciation for the support of their family and friends. Now, we will actively keep in touch with you through our alumni and communications teams, and I would ask you to please keep in touch with us. We would love to hear about your achievements as you progress through your lives and careers, and we look forward to hearing from you again. The advice and guidance given by our alumni help to provide the first-class education and student experience that you all had at Strathclyde. I now ask you to think of those who will follow in your footsteps. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who've helped create the University of Strathclyde. You can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded in the Enlightenment and embodying the Enlightenment principles of reason, tolerance and equality. Anderson believed in useful learning, and his commitment to taking knowledge and using it for the greater good is the motivating force which gives Strathclyde its momentum today. It can be seen in our business school, which was named Business School of the Year in the prestigious UK-wide Thames Higher Education Awards. It can be seen in our Advanced Forming Research Centre, which sets new standards in design and manufacturing and which has more than doubled in size to meet industry demand. And it can be seen in our £89 million Technology Innovation Centre, which is transforming the way academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. TIC, as it's fondly known, is a tangible sign of the university's commitment to world-class research and ensuring outcomes that have maximum benefit to society and to the economy. And these represent just a small sample of the many innovative projects and initiatives led by our world-class academic and professional services colleagues who are taking new knowledge and using it to solve problems in industry, in the classroom and in boardrooms. Now, I'm especially pleased we're developing our campus to enable us to do even more. Our business school's flagship building has been transformed with a £23.2 million investment. We're about to begin work on a £60 million teaching and learning hub and a £31 million sport, health and wellbeing centre, bringing our total expenditure on the estate to £650 million only in the last decade. And so too, it's been a year to celebrate for the faculty. Our Professor of Physical Activity and Public Health Science, John Riley, led a high-profile study which challenged conventional thinking about physical activity in children. His team found that it may actually start tailing off as early as the age of 7, rather than during adolescence, as is widely believed. Strathclyde's Law Clinic's Executive Committee won in the Team of the Year category of the Herald Society Awards. And our very own politics professor, John Curtis, once again helped huge audiences better understand the election process, and his exit poll got it right, again. We established the Institute for Inspiring Children's Futures, led by our Centre for Excellence for Looked After Children in Scotland and the Centre for Youth and Criminal Justice. This institute's been set up to support children and young people around the world in achieving their potential in life. That is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. That is why world-class companies like Rolls-Royce, GSK and Boeing are investing in Strathclyde. That is why we are leading research in energy, health, manufacturing and technology. Our success is in no small part due to the collective talent, effort and commitment of our staff, the 3,200 colleagues who are pulling together to deliver one vision, a leading international technological university. Like me, they are very proud of your achievements. And I know that the class of 2017 will demonstrate the power of useful learning. I know you will make your dreams come true, and I know you will make a difference to the world in which we all live. Thank you. I now declare closed this congregation for the conferment of degrees. I would like to invite our graduates to join the academic procession. Would family and friends please stay behind until the procession has left the building, and then join us in the Lord Todd, and if the weather's good enough, out on the grass outside the Lord Todd building for refreshments. Would you please stand as the procession leaves?